edition of FAFO, titled, I Voted for You and I Thought My Career Was Safe. So the Department of Education has done a reclassification of certain degrees that are now deemed non-professional, meaning that certain fields that were previously considered professional will no longer qualify for the higher federal student loan limits needed for graduate school as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill that was signed into legislation recently. And the following careers include nursing, physician assistants, physical therapists, audiologists, architects, accountants, educators, social workers, engineering, business master programs, counseling or therapy, and speech pathology. And in response to this, Wendy Brinley Hines wrote this on the White House Facebook page, saying, please remove the limitations of professions. As a professional nurse who has her master's degree, and as someone who voted each time for you, I cannot believe that you would disrespect our profession. Additionally, our middle daughter will graduate as a physical therapist in 1 month, and our youngest is planning on becoming a physician's assistant. All of which take care of patients on a daily basis. Grad school is very expensive. Trust me, I know. I have paid my way myself for each level of education. Please reconsider your thoughts on this bill. We all need professional staff that can afford education in their effort to care for our nation. Oh, Wendy, you have a master's degree, yet you voted for him yet again. Because that sounds like a very uneducated decision on your part 3 times. And I genuinely do feel bad for those that did not vote for him who are actually trying to pursue careers in these fields. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe there's a section in Project 2025 that wants to shrink the healthcare system as much as possible. Because some people out there think healthcare should be a privilege and not a right. And Wendy, if you do see this, I genuinely hope that you have the day that you voted for. Because this decision is genuinely screwing a lot of people over.
Trump has removed nursing, teaching, accounting, and other women-led careers from the professionals list. And many of the people in these fields voted for this. Literally voted for a man who said he would restructure degrees in his One Big Beautiful Bill in 2025. And these same women are, instead of taking accountability and saying, oops, we made a mistake, are denying it and making excuses for him. They're literally screaming that it's a Democratic hoax. They don't believe it's real, even though he said it would happen. Newsflash, it's policy, and it's real. And we've seen this cycle a million times over. Vote for the oppressor, get oppressed, then excuse the oppressor and blame the people who warned you. And y'all will still bow down and kiss this man's ring. He literally said he was going to do this. He didn't whisper it. He didn't hide it. He shouted it like fireworks. So I just want to know how the MAGA nurses are feeling. Because you were not misled. So don't even try to claim that as an excuse. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. What black women were warning you he was going to do. And this is just an example of how white patriarchal politics recruits its own victims and trains them to defend the very policies that harm them. Because these same women that are losing their professional titles and having to pay more for student loans and degrees are still going to be his biggest cheerleaders, while simultaneously being their own biggest downfall. The comfort of white supremacy is a hell of a drug, as is the protection, quote unquote, of the patriarchy.
Good morning, MAGA Trump supporters, specifically women who want to become nurses. I'm just wondering, how are you doing this morning? How are you doing this morning knowing that they want to strip away your professional degree? I mean, they've already proved to us that they don't like women, right? I mean, first it was removing the word woman from scientific studies. Yeah. And then, women shouldn't be in the military because, there's just no place for them there. And we just watched Trump call a woman on Air Force One a piggy. I mean, when are you guys going to learn that MAGA Republicans hate women? They do not like women and they do not support you in any kind of way. Oh, wait, you're the type of woman he would never do that to, right? Yeah, someone who has supported him for years. Oh, wait, what's happening with Marjorie Taylor Greene right now? Because she's having to use her voice for good to actually stand up and release the Epstein files? What's happening? What is Trump calling her right now? Oh, yeah, a traitor. Yeah. You see, MAGA Republicans actually do not respect or care about women. If given the opportunity, MAGA Republicans would strip away women's right to vote, resources, being able to make money, and having any kind of freedom, because they actually do not care about you. I know. You think you're the exception to the rule. You're not, baby girl. It's time to wake up and stand together with all women. All my love.
What's funny is I thought that I was about to go to school to be a nurse practitioner, but I don't think so at this point because they said nursing is no longer considered a professional degree. I'd like to see these people go to school for 2 years and get associates. I'd like them to go to school for 4 years and get a bachelor's. How about they go to school for 6 years and get a master's? And see how professional that is. Just graduated school. I'm a new grad resident. I had a dream that I was going to be a nurse practitioner. I planned on going next year. But guess what? In 2026, they said that they're cutting the funding. Y'all not getting no more loans, baby. Well, y'all are. But guess what? Y'all only get $20,000 a year. The school I plan on attending is $60,000. To get a master's degree in nursing and science, to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner, $60,000. They're only going to give us $20,000 a year. You do the math. The program's 2 years. $60,000. They're giving me $20,000 a year. That's $40K. Guess what? I got 20 grand I still got to come up with. That means I'm not going to school. Who's coming out of pocket $20,000 just to go to school? When I'm used to getting grants and loans and things of that nature. But now they said no. Figure it out. They don't want us to continue our education. They want us to stay exactly where we at. They want the women to be barefoot and pregnant because nursing is primarily dominated by women. They said nah. Y'all go ahead, get back in the kitchen, make me some food, and take care of my children. That's what they want you to do. They don't want you to advance. They don't want you to make more money. They want to see where you at. Crabs in a bucket. But you know what? I ain't gonna worry about that. I'm gonna take my talents elsewhere. Y'all better work on y'all businesses. Y'all better get y'all LLC. Y'all better do what y'all need to do. Y'all need to get y'all social media following up. Y'all better collect the bag another way. Because I don't know if you're going to get this other degree. I would like to, but I don't know. They're playing with my top. But it's alright. I'll call you back. Bye.
Trump, you are on my last nerve, and I have been a fan from the beginning. I was all for MAGA, whatever the fuck. Make America great again, right? Can't make America great if you ain't got nurses, right? Because apparently they're not professionals now, right? Apparently they have not made the Trump administration list for professional jobs. They left nurses off. I don't know if that was a mistake, but I know they got a proofreader somewhere doing their job. So, what do you mean nurses are not professionals? People that are saving lives. Are you kidding me right now? Nurses are literally the branches of doctors. And you're not just talking about like nurses. We're talking like, it's talking like nurse practitioners, physician's assistants, and up. Medical doctors. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Now I want to see this list of professionals. But at the end of the day, someone who understands the anatomy of the body and how it works and the homeostasis of the body and how all of it works together. Trump, you better hope something don't happen to you. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? If you drop dead right now, nobody might not give you CPR if you go into cardiac arrest. They just might not. I'm just saying. Like, what in the world? What in the world? I hope that was a typo. I hope that was a typo. What a wild time, too, to decide this, being that there is a shortage of nurses right now. You know why there's a shortage of nurses? Because we are overworked, understaffed, too many patients, and not appreciated. They want to talk about, it's not even a shortage of the nurses, really. I mean, it is and it's not. It's about the scheduling. They are pinching pennies to keep them nurses in there. They're pinching pennies to have so many nurses to so many patient ratio, nurse to patient ratio. Lord have mercy.
Thanks for clicking to watch today's video, and also welcome back to our channel. And today's story is about an FAFO moment, and it's a moment whereby reality comes knocking at the door. And this is when people realize that voting isn't about slogans, but also the consequences that people might face after the voting season ends. And so across the country, the nurses and especially the MAGA nurses have woken up to the Trump's administration new education policy, having, stripped the nursing degrees of their professional status. Yes, you heard me right. It has stripped the nursing degree, actually the one which is a life-saving course, so much essential and a very respected profession. It has been stripped of its professional status. And actually these nurses, the MAGA nurses, are the ones who voted for him in huge numbers, believing that he will protect their jobs, protect their profession. But right now they have downgraded their degrees. We'll prepare this video for you. We do not own the rights of the video. They belong to the original owners of the video. Let's dive in and listen to what people have to say about this. And guys, I'll be back with my commentary, so stick around. Let's listen in.
Hi, so the Department of Education has just decided to release their list of fields that will no longer be considered professional degrees. And that list includes teachers, occupational therapists, speech pathologists, nurses, and I am just wondering at what point you MAGA women are going to understand that the war on women that they are raging is real, that it was in Project 2025, that we tried to warn you that what they want is to silence you. They want all women to go back to the kitchen. They want all women to be barefoot and pregnant and submit to their husbands. This is their ideology. This is what they want, and they are carrying it out in policy. So it's not just rhetoric now, because thanks to you, it has been elected and now implemented. So that means that anybody who wants to be a nurse, that wants to be a teacher, that wants to be an occupational therapist, which are female-dominated fields, they will have a really hard time getting student loan assistance. Their fields will not be funded as much. And it's not a coincidence. They didn't just pick these careers, these fields out of a hat. It's because they're female dominated. You are being played, and you don't want to listen to any of us who tried to tell you. You didn't want to read Project 2025. And now look at this. It's actually happening. Shame on you.
I'm wondering how all of the nurses and nurse practitioners that are MAGA, that support Donald Trump, support his policies, support his initiatives, I wonder how they're feeling today.
I honestly wasn't going to say anything, but I can't help it. Can't help it. The fact that the Department of Education would essentially single out nursing and say that advanced practice nurses degrees cannot be recognized as professional degrees is absolutely insane to me, and it is so beyond dangerous. It is so dangerous. The truth is that advanced practice nursing is what has kept a lot of people in the nursing profession, because without it, a lot of nurses would have simply just left the profession that is already short, the profession that helps bridge gaps in care deserts where there's no one else. There you go, there's an advanced practice provider. And the fact that they would seriously even entertain the idea that would not recognize these programs is insane. And as a consumer of health, people should be concerned, because the reality is that nurses will not return back to the bedside. If that is what they're hoping for, it's not going to happen. People will leave the profession in drones. So this is absolutely I don't even know what to say. Like, I am in full on shock.
So apparently nurse practitioner degrees are no longer going to be considered professional degrees under the new Department of Education proposed rules that go into effect next July. MDs and DOs, they are still considered professional. That makes complete and logical sense. However, NPs, not professional. CRNAs, not professional. PAs, not professional. But chiropractors, they are still considered professional under these new proposed rules. However, Physical and occupational therapists do not fall under these professional degrees. They are not professional. Speech language pathologists, not professional. Theology and divinity degrees, yes, they are considered professional. However, teachers, the ones who are actually the ones teaching the entire country, are not considered professional. I truly cannot even put into words how much this does not make any sense. As someone who has been studying my ass off for 2.5 years in a doctorate of nursing practice program, completing clinical rotations and managing patients and sacrificing my time, my money, my sleep, and quite frankly, my sanity, to now be told that my profession is not professional is beyond disrespectful to not just NPs, but to every single professional healthcare degree out there. NPs, CRNAs, PAs, PTs, OTs, SLPs, social workers, even teachers. Like, it is so disrespectful in so many ways to not consider these professions professional enough to be worthy of loans. This decision doesn't just impact job titles, it impacts federal loan caps and affordability and access to education and the future workforce. It's all in all very insulting to every single advanced practice provider out there who works on the front line of a very broken system, but still chooses to show up for their patients every single day. So to the Department of Education, I don't know who came up with this list and how you guys decided on which profession is more professional than the others, but please go back and try again.
To the First Lady, it's people will leave the industry in droves, not drones. But they're both 100% correct on the damage this is going to do. You're not going to be able to get certain loans or certain dollar amounts for loans for certain educations because they're not considered professional. The eroding of our education system from the top down is has been so damaging within the first 10 months alone that it is going to take a shit ton of time to repair just that damage. I shudder to think of what they're going to do over the course of the next 3+ years.
The Trump administration has made a decision which will make it almost impossible for low and middle income people to obtain advanced nursing degrees. As if that's not bad enough, it is going to really exacerbate an already critical nursing shortage. As part of Trump's big beautiful bill, the Department of Education will no longer consider some of these nursing programs professional degrees. That is an important designation because without it, the Department of Education caps your federal loan eligibility at $20,500 a year. Anyone who's ever become a nurse practitioner or a physician assistant, they will tell you that these programs are much more expensive than that. But in an effort to limit the amount of federal spending on these critical programs, Trump's Department of Education, led by Linda McMahon, yes, this Linda McMahon, is no longer considering these programs professional. This isn't about semantics. This means that people who want to obtain those advanced degrees, they can't get more than $100,000 in assistance. Meanwhile, professions that the Trump administration considers professional can get more than double that. That includes doctors, pharmacists, dentists, and, strangely, priests. But the question is, why? Why would the Trump administration kick working class people and our struggling healthcare system right in the balls like this? The answer is the same reason this administration does anything. Money. By eliminating that professional designation and eliminating Grad Plus loans, Trump will force these people to take on more private sector loans at more predatory interest rates. The consequence will be a worse shortage of key healthcare professionals and limited upward mobility for people trying to get an education. And those who actually do get degrees will be trapped in a more vicious debt cycle than before. But it's not too late. These changes don't take effect until July of 2026. In the meantime, we can make noise, we can pressure our lawmakers to undo this disastrous provision. I'm Attorney Ryan. I cover critical stories on law, politics, and workers' rights. If you'd like to stay in the loop, you can follow for more.
So tell me you want to crash the U.S. healthcare system without telling me you want to crash the U.S. healthcare system. So the U.S. Department of Education has proposed new rules that could reclassify graduate nursing degrees, like nurse practitioners, as non-professional programs. This change would significantly limit federal student loan access for graduate nursing programs by capping the annual loan amounts at a lower level than is currently allowed for other professional degrees like MDs and so forth. So why would they do this? Let's think about this for a minute. Let's look at Project 2025. Nursing is a female-dominated profession. Nurse practitioners, DNPs, and advanced nursing degrees are overwhelmingly filled by women, about 85% according to current data. Any policy change that limits access to advanced degrees or reduced pathways for professional advancement disproportionately impacts women, and they're going to frame it as budgetary reasons. A rule doesn't have to explicitly target women for it to functionally suppress female professional mobility. Project 2025 has openly stated goals like this. They want to return to traditional family structures, encouraging women to prioritize motherhood and baby making. They want to discourage dual income households that rely on government-supported childcare. These motives aren't hidden. These are written in their public documents, right? And advanced nursing degrees give women a high level of autonomy, a higher earning capacity, and leadership roles. And that's the opposite of what traditional ideology in Project 2025 wants. Project 2025 has also repeatedly attacked fields dominated by women. Think about it. Education, 76% women. They want to eliminate the Department of Education, remove credentialing, remove federal loan protection, reduce academic research opportunities for women, nursing and healthcare. They want to shrink the federal support for DNP and MP programs. They want to re-elevate the physician hierarchy because that's more dominated by men. They want to eliminate diversity, equity, and gender-focused health programs. Social work, the nonprofit sector, 82% dominated by women. They want to cut federal block grants, restrict the Title X, shrink the public sector jobs, and eliminate reproductive health programs. This paints a consistent ideological picture to weaken female-dominated professions by reducing federal support and classification protections. Advanced degrees allow women to earn $120,000 or more a year, operate independently in many states, run clinics, engage in primary care leadership roles, reduce physician dependency models, and rolling back this pushes women out of high autonomy roles and back into subordinate and lower paid positions. And this is a complete alignment with the Trump administration and Project 2025. Project 2025 specifically frames women working in high-skilled careers as anti-family. You know, they assert that America's decline is tied to the collapse of the traditional two-parent household and that the federal government should encourage women to return to the home, and that public policy doesn't need to incentivize careerism over family life. So they're de-incentivizing women's professional advancement, and it's just been wrapped in bureaucratic bullshit. This move isn't just about budgetary problems and money, right? Federal loans are a drop in the bucket compared to other budget line items like defense and all that bullshit. They want to reduce women's high-paying degrees, reduce access to women's high-paying degrees, reinforce the hierarchical male-led professional structures like with physicians and things like that, and engineers. They want to shrink the federal support for fields dominated by women. They want to push women back into domestic, low autonomy, and subordinate roles. And they want to frame it all as a budgetary discipline or regulatory reform. Project 2025 doesn't have to say the words ban female advancement for them to ban female advancement, right? And decreasing the professional designations of nurse practitioners and nursing degrees will do exactly that. This will, if this happens, completely skyrocket healthcare costs because you're going to be more dependent on physician-led models. And it's going to decrease access to healthcare for millions of Americans because nurse practitioners are the only possible healthcare option for a lot of people in rural areas. You guys tell me what you think. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to you later. Let me know if you think this is complete and utter garbage like I do.
Why is this really, really bad news for all of us, not just nurses? Part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act actually changed loan repayment programs, setting a higher annual cap for professional degrees at $50,000 a year compared to other graduate degrees at only $20,000 a year. The concern is that not just nursing, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, Physical therapy, occupational therapy, social work are all now no longer considered professional degrees. This is terrible news for a system that is already struggling, where we have major nursing shortages and where there are also physician shortages, and physician assistants and nurse practitioners are filling the gaps in a lot of places, especially rural areas. Also, take a look at the types of fields that were removed from professional designation. A lot of them are female dominated. Compared to the fields that are still considered professional degrees, including chiropractic and then also theology. Now, my husband has a PhD and a master's in theology, but just to point out that that is likely on there because of political reasons. Now, this is actually all part of Project 2025, where they wanted to privatize all loans, get rid of public service loan repayment, and eventually dismantle the Department of Education, which is already happening. I've also seen comments, and this is very astute, where a lot of these fields are mandated reporters when it comes to child abuse. So nursing, teachers, social workers. I have no great call to action. I don't know if a public outcry is going to do anything or if this is a done deal. Please keep talking about it. And this is incredibly important to learn the ramifications of your vote. You may do knee-jerk vote because of X, Y, and Z, but you can cause serious consequences down the line that can basically hurt the entire healthcare system and your own interests.
For years, these nurses were told that Trump supports working class, Trump supports healthcare heroes, and so the MAGA nurses supported him in huge numbers, thinking that they were on the right side and they were protected. But right now they are facing the finding out moment. And guys, these policies, this new education policy has really affected so much. It has affected some of the things like education funding. It has affected career advancement. It has also affected the credibility of nursing programs nationwide. And you know, the people who are crying the most are the MAGA nurses. And they are saying they were loyal, they believed that they were on the right side and nothing would affect them because they voted for Trump and they felt that as if they were protected from everything that would happen. But right now they feel betrayed. And remember, even as this happens, right now USA is facing actually a shortage of nurses, and they are really instead of them advancing the nursing profession, they are right now making it even more harder and expensive for people to pursue that cause. And people are really crying betrayal. They are saying that they didn't expect this. And this is what happens when people choose political loyalty over reading the policy fine print. And guys, this is what happens also when people choose, loyalty, saying that and thinking that maybe when something happens they won't be affected because they chose those leaders. But policy does not look at who voted for who. Policy affects everybody. Those that voted for Trump and those that didn't vote for him, they affect both of those people the same. So guys, what do you think? Will these policies make the MAGA nurses rethink their decision, or will they just choose to continue supporting the leaders even while they are still being hurt directly? So kindly drop your comments and don't forget to like, share, and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. See you on our next video.